I started a podcast called Just Listed with Vic, giving those professionals in the real estate industry a platform to not only promote themselves, but to create stronger consumers. Whether you're looking to become a real estate agent or in the market to buy, sell, or become an investor, join me as we learn and grow together. And as always, welcome home. Hey folks, thanks for tuning in today. We're joined with my mentor, my coach, my teammate, the queen of contract writing. It is my pleasure to introduce to you my good friend, Shari Roberts.
Hi guys.
Shari, how are you?
I'm actually honored to be in your presence, Vic. Thank you. Seriously, you guys, this guy right here, thank you for having me.
So there's a lot I want to cover when it comes to real estate and who you are. So as we jump into it, tell us, what inspired you to become a realtor?
I had my master's degree in teaching. It wasn't going exactly the way I had planned it. So this was in the 90s. So every person who said to me, Shari, how are you? I'd say, I'm fine, I need a job. I used to bartend at night. And by the way, bartenders and waitresses, limiting belief, we make the best realtors. And I learned real estate, I think, the right way, backwards. So, but in my past, by the way, before that, and just coincidentally throughout college, I worked for a mortgage broker. I worked for a title company. And then when they said, they needed somebody, that's how I started. I was watching all the realtors like you make basically what they make today, 10,000 a transaction, 15, 20. I was like, and I'm making $25 a transaction. So I said to them, I want my license. So they paid for my license, but I was still too afraid to be commission based. So they still gave me the salary and they said, we'll split your deals 50-50. And I was like, okay. Then I sold my first $360,000 property, both sides.
Wow. The
commission was $21,000 and I got 11. And I said, that's it. Take the training wheels off. I said, I want the whole thing. And the rest is history. And I continued to bartend. I sold a first home to every single waiter, waitress, dishwasher, cook, income properties, to everyone, and customers.
So what aspect of real estate would you say you specialize in?
Specialize, I would say listings. I just love walking into someone's home. It's also kind of sad too, because you get emotionally attached to the people in the home and also what the people are going through. So it should be a happy occasion. Sometimes it's not. I did create a niche for myself in 2008, short sales. I worked for a broker and I came upon this thing called a short sale. What's a short sale? Well, short sale is when they owe more than the house is worth. And I was going to hire a title company. They were going to take 1.25% of my compensation to pay for their services. And my broker, and I don't recommend this for everybody, like I said, the early 2000s and were a little different than they are now. But he said to me, why are you giving your money away? Just do it yourself. And again, I don't recommend that. I do not recommend that for the audience at large. But it wasn't rocket science. It was just a lot of work. But it's scary because if I had made a big mistake, but that's why I had an attorney-backed title company, still Carol Schmidt, way back then. And we did the short sales. I negotiated all the short sales. She did the closing statements. And if it got too hairy for me, Greg Cohen, the attorney, stepped in, Carol stepped in. So at least I knew, that I was protecting the customer. But short sales became a niche and nobody wanted to do them. So everyone would say, oh, I need to sell my house, especially in Loxahatchee in 8, 9, 10, 11. Everybody was upside down. They said, oh, Shari will do it for you.
So prior to becoming a realtor, what was a misconception you had about real estate and real estate agents?
I never really thought about realtors that way, but people think, unfortunately, that we make too much money. They just don't understand. And you know what? I don't even tell my customers, as I know you don't, that we're up all night. Our stomachs are in knots, just like theirs are. I always tell my agents, and I've told you this, You wake up in the morning and the deal's dead. There's liens on the property. They owe the IRS. The buyer can't buy. Everybody's mad at each other. Then it goes up, then it goes down, then it goes up, then it goes down, and then that day ends on a high note. So there's a time, and you and I discuss this a lot. It's like 4 or 5 o'clock. We know that somebody is waiting for us to call them, but we try to solve the problem first. So I tell you, sometimes it's not good news. And I'm like, okay, you and I have done everything we could for this person. It's time to let them know. But we've also eliminated so many things throughout the day that it's only a few things at the end of the day if it's not great news. And I always say, don't take your customer on the roller coaster ride with you. That's our job. So what the public doesn't know is that we are, throughout every single day, we are doing all of this. And then at the end, we're like, oh, everything's great. But I'm never going to say, well, guess what I did for you? You don't know. It's just, if they think it's smooth, you know what? It's actually a compliment. If they think, come to think of it, if they think we make too much, that means we did our job really well.
So what would you say is a fear that you have as a realtor?
I guess my biggest fear is disappointment. That's my fear. I just feel like I'm going to disappoint them, which people tell me is crazy because I've had my license for so long. And then I realize not to be too hard on myself or other people. Everybody makes mistakes, and hindsight literally is 20/20. If you could, all of the things you do throughout a transaction and you miss one thing, when everything's great and you're closing or whatever, and they look back and that one thing pops up, like, how come you didn't? It's so sad because you tried so hard and you did miraculous things, and it's the one thing. At the very beginning of a transaction, if you have the seller, the buyer, whatever it is, you tell them every single thing that could possibly happen. All right, we're going to list it for this price, but I want you to know that at this price, it's been on the market. All the other ones have been on the market for 100 days, 90 days, whatever. And look at how they lowered it until they got to the point where we should start at. But I'll list it at this price, but this is what's going to happen. So when all these things happen, I realized that, too, oh my God, it didn't appraise, let's say, God forbid. And our stomach's in knots and they're going to blame us. But we already told them that we don't really feel like at that price it's going to appraise. But here's what's going to happen if it doesn't appraise, the 3 things. And you know what the seller says? Oh, okay, great.
So as we talk about from then to now, how do you handle 2 things, slow periods and rejection?
I am much better now at handling the rejection and slow times. So it's funny. I agent attract. I have my missing piece business. I do short sales. And I do my buyer and seller business. It's not jack of all trades, master of none. It's different streams of revenue coming in.
How do you stand out in a crowded market?
There's very few people who know more than I do about contracts. The cool thing is I surround myself with people who know just as much as I do, but in different areas.
How do you build trust with your clients and other real estate agents?
All I have is my word. That's it. I've watched you treat $75,000 condos the same as you treat $10 million projects. You're exactly the same.
And looking back, if there's one thing you could do different in your career for real estate, what would it be and why?
Nothing.
Wow.
Every mistake I made, and I've made some doozies, actually helped me teach it forward. I actually think it's a bonus because I could share all these years of experience with everyone else and hope that they don't make the same mistakes that I did.
What has been your biggest win so far?
When you do a short sale and somebody went through a hardship, the top 5, death, job loss, reduction in income, divorce, whatever it is, and you get them out of that home and the bank will never come after them again for the rest of their natural born lives, every single one of those is a win. You said to me, on both sides of the coin. And Michael just said this to me. Now you go, Shari, you were newer. And you said, do you know why they took my offer over 5 other offers? I said, why? You said, ours wasn't the highest. It wasn't, the terms weren't necessarily the best. You said, but I had every single document, addendum, everything signed, filled out, and approval letter, whatever they needed. And the lender called them right away. And, we had everything done correctly. You said they were blown away. I go, what do you mean? That's what we're supposed to do. And you said that our offer was the only one that did that.
How important has mentorship been for you?
So important. You cannot do this by yourself, and I will not do this by myself. I have like 6 to 10 people in my life that know more than I do about certain things, or we collaborate together. I'm like, did you see that in the new contract? What the heck does that mean? For me personally, I can't do it without the help of others because there's so much I don't know.
What would you say is the toughest conversation you've had to have with a client?
For me, any bad news. Anytime you have to tell a customer, you're not approved when we thought they were. That's the worst, especially, we recommend 3 lenders to them or 3 inspectors or 3 whatevers, and they pick one of the ones that you like and it doesn't go very well. It's so bad.
How would you advise new agents to tell their clients, I'm learning on the job, I'm still new, please work with me?
How about not say that at all? Check it out. Kelly McCarthy, new agent, she learned from Brett to know her numbers. My agents don't do this by themselves. So phrases like, my team has closed this many homes. And if you know your numbers, houses in this area usually typically take 120 days to sell. Here's the statistics. At this price range, it takes this. And I learned something too. I went on a luxury class of how to sell, this to get your luxury designation and to sell multi-million-dollar properties. The gentleman said he learned every single home that had sold was on the market in that area. And he took his customers in the car and he said, oh, that house sold for 97% of its asking price, and it was only on the market for 60 days. That home was taken on, put off, taken on, put off. And they gave $50,000 in concessions because the roof was bad. That home was listed for, and he knew everything. Do you know that this happens with Kelly too? Nobody ever asked them how long they had been in the business.
For new agents out there, how do you say to them, don't compare your first year's success to somebody's 10-year success?
I mean, you can't. There's always going to be somebody better than you. Have these goals, aspirations, and people you admire and people you emulate. They always say, take that, more successful person out to coffee. Learn from them. There's nothing wrong with that. And want to be like them, but you are who you are.
Or have that successful person sitting on your podcast.
Oh, geez, Louise.
If there's one rule you could change about real estate, what would it be?
Honestly, right now, would be the buyer-broker agreement. What I don't like is there's no accountability. So
for who?
For other, you deal with this all the time for other agents. Listen to this. Do you know how many buyers say, well, Sally Sue didn't make me sign this, and they showed me a house. It doesn't matter what I think about the document. It doesn't matter my opinion about it. It has to be the same for everyone.
You keep talking about this missing piece thing. What is that?
What do I like about real estate? I love teaching. So the missing piece is a company that I formed where I actually help agents. So you don't have to be directly on my team. I train all the agents first on how to do all of the contracts, all of the addendums, all of the paperwork. And then we talk about what could happen. And then on my personal Wednesday Zooms that we do together, sometimes I don't have a topic or a special guest. We just collaborate. You want to grow your team? I can help you with that. You want to grow your business? I can help you with that. You want to do expireds, for sale by owners? I could direct you to the people. You want to learn how to be a relocation specialist? Awesome. This is the training you need. You want to learn how to do short sales? Follow me. I'll do it. Being the hub also and the center of all things real estate and being here for so long is a great help too.
There's so much that we need to cover that we just can't cover it in one episode. Stay tuned for part 2 as we learn and grow with Shari.
I guess I'm coming back. Bye, guys.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Thanks, Vik. This was great.
And as always, welcome home.